Welcome to Star News Channel. I'm Sophia, and today we have some hot and trending news to share with you. Feng Shaofeng finds his way back to the spotlight as Xin Zhilei shines in Venice. For a long time, Feng Shaofeng seemed to drift in the quiet shadows of an industry that once celebrated him as one of its brightest leading men. His name, once synonymous with lavish period dramas and box office hits, had grown faint in the roaring noise of pressure idols and fast-rising stars. Yet, as fate would have it, his old screen partner Xin Zhilei's triumph at the Venice Film Festival has unexpectedly placed him back in the conversation, and perhaps back on the road to redemption. It was never really about him that night. All eyes were on Xin Zhilei, radiant in her designer gown, when she accepted her award under the golden lights of Venice. Cameras flashed, the crowd erupted, and a new milestone was etched into her already formidable career. But when she paused to acknowledge Feng Shaofeng, the man who had once shared the screen with her in complex roles that demanded precision and emotional range, a new narrative quietly began to unfold. Feng, standing just out of the spotlight, found himself back in it by association. This was not the fiery blaze of scandal that once threatened to define him, nor the noise of personal turmoil that used to dominate headlines. Instead, it was a quiet, almost poetic return, not on the wings of controversy, but tethered to artistry and long-forged partnerships. For Feng, that made all the difference. In the years following a particularly turbulent chapter of his personal life, Feng Shaofeng retreated from the frenzy of the limelight. Gone were the days when he was a constant fixture in the entertainment pages, when every new role felt like a national conversation. Instead, he seemed to slip into a muted existence, taking projects at a slower pace, speaking less in public, and letting the industry chatter move on without him. It was a dangerous position for any actor. The entertainment world is merciless, always chasing the next breakout star, always hungry for the next face to plaster across screens. For an actor like Feng, who had once enjoyed leading men status, the silence could easily have become permanent. Many assumed he would quietly fade into semi-retirement, occasionally resurfacing in supporting roles that paid the bills but offered little else. Those who paid attention noticed a change in his approach. No longer content to ride solely on charisma or his matinee idol looks, Feng began to choose roles that tested him. The drama Day and Night Rivers was a clear turning point. In it, he played a man caught between conflicting loyalties and the weight of destiny, a role that demanded subtlety rather than grandeur. Critics who had once dismissed him as merely decorative began to take notice. The performance was layered, disciplined, and unexpectedly raw. It was the kind of work that does not make immediate headlines, but it plants seeds. Slowly, the narrative began to shift. Feng Shaofeng was no longer the actor who had stumbled through personal upheaval. He was an artist clawing his way back, one performance at a time. Still, it often takes a spark from outside to reignite a stalled career. That spark came in the form of Xin Zhilei's Venetian triumph. The two had shared the screen before, building a rapport that audiences remembered fondly. When she stood on stage in Italy and thanked Feng, she wasn't just acknowledging a colleague, she was reminding the industry of their shared history, their undeniable chemistry, and his continued relevance. The ripple effect was immediate. Entertainment blogs picked up the moment, social media buzzed, and suddenly Feng's name was back on trending lists. Fans, nostalgic for their earlier collaborations, began to wonder aloud if the two might reunite on screen. Producers, ever attuned to public sentiment, quietly started to reconsider him for bigger projects. It wasn't a full-blown resurgence, but it was a foothold. And for an actor who had known both the heights of stardom and the lows of near obscurity, that foothold was invaluable. In the modern celebrity ecosystem, perception is as crucial as talent. For years, Feng had struggled under the weight of public judgment. Every move, every choice, every silence was scrutinized. Yet now, thanks in part to Xin Zhilei's acknowledgement and his own steady work ethic, the narrative is shifting. Instead of seeing him as a fallen star, people are beginning to see him as a survivor, a man who weathered storms, kept working, and waited for the right moment to step forward again. This perception matters. In an industry where casting decisions are often influenced by public image as much as raw ability, being seen as reliable, disciplined, and quietly resilient is no small thing. Feng's recent appearances at festivals and premieres, where he carried himself with poise and understated charm, only reinforced this evolving image. Feng Shaofeng's journey also reflects a broader truth about the entertainment industry. Success in show business has never been solely about talent. It's a delicate balance of timing, relationships, personal branding, and, yes, luck. Careers rise and fall not just on what an actor delivers on screen, but on how they are perceived off it. Marriages, friendships, scandals, alliances, they all feed into the larger story the public consumes. In Feng's case, the turning point came not from orchestrated publicity or sensational gossip, but from a colleague's achievement and his own quiet persistence. It was a reminder that while spectacle dominates headlines, substance has its own way of resurfacing. So where does Feng Shaofeng go from here? That is the question everyone seems to be asking. The Venice moment has given him renewed visibility, but visibility alone does not sustain a career. What he does with this renewed attention will determine whether this is a fleeting blip or the beginning of a true second act. There are whispers of new projects, some historical, others contemporary, each designed to showcase the range he has worked so hard to develop. Fans are particularly hopeful for another collaboration with Xin Zhilei, whose career trajectory is clearly on a steep ascent. Whether or not that reunion happens, the mere speculation is proof enough that Feng is once again part of the cultural conversation. For now, he seems content to let his work speak louder than his past. His performances are sharper, his choices more deliberate, his presence steadier. It is the portrait of an actor who has learned from missteps and is determined not to squander a second chance. Feng Shaofeng's return is not the triumphant blaze of a phoenix rising spectacularly from the ashes. It is quieter, more gradual, and perhaps more enduring. It is a story about resilience, about the ability to endure silence and doubt, and about the strange, serendipitous ways in which opportunity returns when least expected. As Xin Zhilei basks in the glow of her Venice victory, Feng stands once more on the edges of the spotlight, ready, this time, to step into it with a steadier hand. His story is not finished, not by a long shot. If anything, it has just begun again. And for audiences who have watched him falter and rise, that makes his journey all the more compelling. In an industry that thrives on reinvention, Feng Shaofeng has proven that sometimes the most powerful comeback is the one that grows quietly, until it suddenly can no longer be ignored. Thank you for watching. If you find the video interesting, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel to watch the next videos.